First up, a murder nearly 20 years ago rocked a small Oregon community, but now new DNA evidence in the Leah Freeman case could mean the man who spent 9 years in prison for her death may walk free. Our Kendra Kent is following these new developments for us tonight and joins us now live in studio. Kendra?
Yeah, Bonnie, and a lot of people remember this case. Leah Freeman went missing from the small coastal community of Coquille nearly 20 years ago. Her body was found in the woods weeks later. Now, 9 years ago, Nick McGuffin was convicted of manslaughter in her death and has been in prison since. Now, a judge has overturned that conviction, saying the jury was never presented with DNA evidence found on Leah's shoes.
In the story of justice for Leah Freeman, there's now a new chapter, one that comes 19 years after her body was found and 9 years after her former boyfriend was convicted of manslaughter in her death. That boyfriend, Nick McGuffin, has maintained his innocence all of these years. And now, just as his 10-year prison sentence is coming to a close, a judge has overturned his conviction, finding that important DNA evidence was excluded from his trial.
He's obviously thrilled and overwhelmed. I think we're all just so extremely relieved and happy that the court was willing to recognize what we think is a fairly obvious result here.
Janice Burriquel is part of a team that's been fighting for McGuffin for several years. The Oregon Innocence Project and Forensic Justice Project took one look at the case and decided McGuffin was innocent.
There were over 20 witnesses who saw Mr. McGuffin when he was supposedly committing this murder, and that's what raised red flags for me, was there's something wrong with the state's timeline.
And Burriquel says a closer look at McGuffin's case revealed a bombshell. Oregon State Police's crime lab back in 2000 had failed to report that unknown male DNA was found on Leah's bloody shoes, meaning the evidence was never brought before a jury during McGuffin's trial.
There's someone out there who committed this crime, and for the past 9 years, an innocent man has been serving time for it.
This is not a finding of actual innocence. This is a finding that he should get a new trial and that a jury should hear about this unidentified DNA.
Coos County District Attorney Paul Frazier worked Leah's case from the beginning and brought the charges against McGuffin more than 10 years after she died. Frazier says he was never aware of the mystery DNA.
I'm not going to throw the crime lab under the bus. They followed their protocols that were in place in 2000.
Frazier says DNA science and technology progressed rapidly between the time Leah's shoes were tested and the decade later that the case went to trial.
The problem was that nobody realized or that this stuff should be retested. We were all operating under the assumption that the reports from 2000 were correct.
And now the Oregon Department of Justice will decide whether to appeal the ruling. From there, the case could go back to Coos County, where the district attorney will decide whether to retry McGuffin. We were able to reach McGuffin's mother tonight. She says the family is ecstatic about the news, but says there's work to be done to find Leah's real killer. Now, we haven't yet been able to get in touch with Leah's family, and we have not heard back from OSP about this case. Reporting live tonight in studio, Kendra Kent, Fox 12 Oregon.